Hello. Okay, so usually I rush through these live videos and I'm like, no one has time to hear all my rambles. Well, this is going to be different. I'm going to allow myself to slow down because I realize a lot of people that are probably in this group, following my YouTube, following me, all the things, they've maybe heard bits and pieces of the science behind it or why I make the decisions I do, but you haven't heard probably a lot of it. Because again, I'm always trying to be very aware that people are busy, and I get it. But there's also a time and place to really slow down, back up, and explain everything. So if you don't want to learn all the things, no shame in my game. That's totally fine. This is for people who really want to understand. Because I don't want you trusting me or anyone else. I want you getting educated about some of the things that I've learned so you can research and make the best decisions for you. Oh boy, it says I have a slow connection. That could be a rough start. Hopefully it's okay. All right, so I am gonna unbox some stuff, but I want to start at the beginning. So for those of you who maybe don't know me at all, I did start with Beachbody Your Body. I was with them for 8 years. And when they kind of switched over to the affiliate system, honestly, I won't go into, there are some rants I just won't go on because I have entirely different YouTube and videos for that. So I won't go into all what happened, but effectively I got to the point where I no longer felt aligned with what they were teaching and preaching. And I knew for me, I needed to find supplements that I could get behind because I had learned a lot about the fact that one, that supplements aren't really regulated. They have even less oversight than like food and pharmaceuticals and everything like that. It's kind of the wild, wild west, to be honest. So you really need to find like a company that does third-party testing. And I learned that, like, I buy almost everything on Amazon, but I learned, and you can Google this stuff. Like, again, I don't want you to trust me. You can just look at recent studies that have been done on like Amazon companies, and they've done testing to be like, here's an immune supplement. Let's test to see if what they say is on the label is actually in the bottle. And the stats are ridiculous. It's just not good. Like less than 50% of the things. And it's not always the companies, like, because I thought, hey, if I buy from a reputable company on Amazon, that'll be good. But no, the way that Amazon warehousing works is they lump all similar goods in the same inventory. So both copycats and legit. So anyways, all that to say, when that all went down, I'm like, I need to find a company that I can get behind. Because for me, I knew I felt better when I supplemented, which again is a whole nother YouTube video, but effectively in a very short, abbreviated version is like I learned that things like our soil quality over time, it's like, for instance, a piece of food. Like we always say, like we'd love to get all of our vitamins and minerals from food, right? There is vitamins and minerals in food. But just a simple illustration is the fact that like everything that grows out of the ground, even if it's organic, right? Like there's chemicals and stuff, but okay, well, let's just say we want to eat only organic and get all our vitamins and minerals from there. Okay, so even if that's how we eat and want to live, and anything growing out of the ground gets its vitamins and minerals from the ground, right? An apple doesn't just get it from nowhere, it comes from its source, right? So the fact that our ground keeps getting farmed, even if they did it perfectly, even if they rotated crops, which a lot of times they don't, even if they, fertilized it in a proper way, a lot of times it doesn't happen. Unfortunately, there's just a lot of people looking for profit and not doing it the way, our ancestors did. But either way, again, if you look at the studies, this is another thing you can Google yourself just to see, like, what is the vitamins and minerals in an apple now, and it was 100 years ago. It's very different. So I have seen the stats of how many people are deficient in magnesium and protein and all the things. And so for me, I knew I needed it. So again, that's what made me go and be like, okay, I need to find a company that I can get behind. So then I came across Shaklee. I didn't even know like anything about it. And usually when I mention it to people, they're like, that's still around? because it's something that maybe their grandparents knew about, or even sold, or their aunts or uncles, but it's coming back up a little bit more now because of people like me. But it has been around for 70 years now, 70 years, insane. They were actually the original inventors of like the multivitamin in the US. They had the first plant-based protein. I mean, they were clean before they were cool. They're the first carbon neutral company in the US. Yeah, I like to say they were clean before they cool. But anyway, so I have just fallen in love with their mission, and they do all the third-party testing, all the things that I needed to get comfortable with it. So that's why I chose them. Okay, so now let's start digging into the many things that I get and why. Again, I'm not just gonna gloss over. I feel like I've already glossed over quite a few things I could have rambled on, but I really want to dig into the why behind it. I keep saying I have a slow connection, so I'm hoping that this is working. Okay, so first, this is one of the bigger boxes that I got. So it has a lot, but it's still not everything that I buy from there. But hopefully will be a good representation of some of the things. So first is Life Shake, and I know some of these other ones are going to be protein supplements as well. So I'll get into the why behind that, because that's a big one. They also have, it's kind of heavy, sparkling protein. And I think also in this box there's a build. So let me talk just shortly about protein and why I supplement and how I supplement. So if you've been keeping up, even the RDA, the government has agreed and realized that their advice for the last few decades has been out of date. They have come out now and agreed that for truly healthy metabolism, we need to eat protein, and a lot more protein than most people are. On average, most Americans are getting like 50 to 60 grams of protein in a day, and we really should be, like women should be getting at least 130 grams. So it's sometimes double or triple the amount of what maybe you got in the past or what an average person gets. And it's interesting because a lot of people will call that high protein. I don't even consider 130 grams being high protein. I consider that adequate protein. Like I said, even the RDA has adjusted their standards and agreed that their other advice was too low. So, I mean, if you do the math, that's typically around 30 to 40 grams of protein at every meal, as well as protein in your snacks. And there's lots of reasons for that. Again, if we want healthy metabolism, one thing that I teach my clients is to think about your muscle as being your metabolism, because your muscle is the main driver of your metabolism, especially for the long term, especially if you want it to be hormone healthy. So the more muscle that we can get, and it doesn't mean that you're going to be bulky. Honestly, that's mostly testosterone. We don't have a lot of that as women, so you don't need to worry about that so much. So the more lean muscle we can get, the higher metabolism we get, the better we're gonna age. I am all about aging well. So, having that independence to get up off of the floor, to keep up with our kids, with our grandkids, I'm all about that. And so the more that we can get of high quality protein, protein's literally made of amino acids, which is also what our muscle is made of. And so that is how you get more muscle, is by making sure you get enough protein. That's super simplified, but that's just how it is. So most people, again, if you look at typical protein sources, you sure could have tons of eggs. Like, just for an example, like 2 eggs is only like 16 grams of protein. So you'd have to have 3 or 4 eggs for an appropriate amount of protein for even breakfast. I mean, you have to switch your level of what enough protein looks like. You could have chicken, all the things, dairy. A lot of people get bloated from dairy though, which is a whole nother rant. But long story short, for most people, protein is the most expensive, the most high prep. You have to cook it, all the things usually. And so expensive, high prep, and the least enjoyable. Like most people sustainably aren't going to enjoy and want to eat tons and tons of tuna and chicken and cottage cheese. And I mean, we think of bodybuilders, and yeah, most of us aren't willing to live and eat that way long term. So this is why a lot of us supplement protein daily. I do. So Life Shake is something I typically have every day. I don't always have it in a shake. Sometimes I make like a cookie dough mixture out of it. I have the recipe if you want that. Sometimes I'll make like an apple dip out of it. I have the recipe if you want that. Like I make things out of it too, just to kind of mix it up, because I've been having a daily shake for now 9 years, a long time. So I like to mix it up too. The sparkling protein is something that I don't typically have every day. It's just that you get 40 grams of protein, so that's a big bang for your buck in the sparkling protein. But it's just a higher price point, to be honest. Like I'm Dutch, so like I don't have would I love to have a sparkling protein every day? Yes, I would. But I don't. I typically use it as like a swap for convenience foods on the go, like especially this summer when I'm going to be at farmers markets, I will have that. Anytime I'm out on vacation, boating, anytime I'm just like running to like errands or concerts or going, to Sioux City for something, and it's better than, it's cheaper and just as filling, if not more filling, and healthier for you than like anything that you get from the gas station or anything like that. So that's when I use these. I will also say, okay, another thing I get asked about is like what makes the one that I drink, Life Shake, different than others? That's a great question. So this is compared to, okay, so if you were with me with Beachbody Your Body, that was Shakeology, which is just a whole different animal that has tons of superfoods, adaptogen herbs, like it's kind of an all-in-one shake. Well, first, I'll be honest and say that I felt really great on it for quite a few years. And then towards the end, I didn't so much. And there's some rumors going around. I don't honestly know if it's the formula that was changed or the quality that was changed, or if it was one of the many ingredients that it's kind of just understood that if you take the same thing and all these exotic and different ingredients for years and years and years, it's not surprising if your body would become sensitive to one of the many things in there. So I'm not really sure what happened, but I know that when I switched mine out for 30 days, I noticed immediately an improvement in my lower belly bloat, and it just felt better. And the pictures proved it as well. Like I thought that it looked better, and the pictures showed that it did too. So now the science in this, okay. So another ramble that I feel like I have to go on is, so you should know like where and how I learned what I learned just a little bit. So for many years, I just trusted Beachbody, and whatever they said, I just followed. And then I started to get understood that some of my older clients were running into weight plateaus, and they were telling me things weren't working like they used to. And there is just more and more on social media and other places. I was hearing more about women's hormones and how things change when they age, and I was getting in my mid to upper 30s, and I was like terrified of it happening to me. So I started opening my eyes to, and ears to what other people were talking about. And so the big first investment that I made was in a hormone sync certification. And that really dug into like how women are wired differently and what changes over perimenopause and menopause. And that was largely based on the research done by Dr. Stacy Sims, who is just a phenom. If you follow anyone on Instagram that is all about like solid researched, she's been researching women specifically for decades. She was one of the first people to demand, like, why are we not doing this research on women? Why are we just throwing them out of the studies because they have hormones and it's too complicated? That's literally what we need to understand. She's phenomenal. So I was learning from her as well. And from people like her. So outside of any company I was affiliated with, and I was still with Beachbody at that time, I learned about something called leucine. Leucine is a particular branch chain amino acid, so a type of protein. And it naturally occurs in like beef, eggs, things like that, right? So it's just part of typical protein sources. Again, it's called leucine, Leucine, if you want to go research it yourself. And I learned at that point, again, I was still with Body at that point, and I knew that it was in our Recover formula. So I was excited about that, shared a lot about that. Then when everything kind of went down and I was looking for another company, I absolutely saw it as like a God wink, mind blowing moment to realize that Shaklee, more than any, I have not seen any other company like it, that they put leucine, specifically supplemented extra, in their Life Shake, in their sparkling protein, in their protein snack bars, in their build. And I mean, I have since seen multiple studies, again, not paid for by Shaklee. My husband's so skeptical, so I even have to explain these things to him. And this isn't like a sketchy, it isn't a sketchy ingredient. It's literally naturally occurring in protein. But the research that has been there for decades, again, Shaklee was one of the first to do it and implement it. But third parties and Dr. Stacy Sims and like Gabrielle Lyons, there's many others that have been sharing more about how important leucine is specifically for aging women. As we know, the hormones are one whole thing. The fact that we're losing collagen is a whole thing. Like, there's a lot of things stacked against us. Well, one of the many things that happens in the cascade of aging and women is one thing that starts to struggle is our brain-body connection. And leucine specifically is the part of the protein that when you ingest it, it's the messenger that goes from your brain that tells your body what to do with it. So they have found that compared to like a leucine protein, part of a leucine protein, and just a natural, normal, off-the-shelf kind of protein blend, they've compared those. Like, is there a difference? And they've absolutely proven that, especially for aging women, their brain has a better connection to their body, more efficient in telling their body to burn fat and build lean muscle. And as we know, with aging women, there's a lot of things working against us. So if we can have protein sources that make sure to include that leucine, especially in a supplemented way, you will have an easier time building lean muscle and burning fat and increasing your metabolism. So that was honestly, it was a big reason why I decided to join Shaklee, because I had learned about it far before, and I 100% like believed in that science, knew it, and have experienced the difference myself. And again, like, leucine is naturally in beef, chicken, all of those things. But when you're supplementing, when you're looking at protein powders, when you're looking at bars, those are the things that if it's not supplemented, like it says, it should say in the ingredients, it should say L-leucine to say that it's been supplemented in there. And if it's not on the ingredient label, it's not in enough that it's going to make the difference. So that's my rant on that. All right, let's keep going. I have the giant box. I'm getting all heated up. Just got back from the 4th grade program. Was anybody else in that wonderful program? It was so cute. On the way back, Charlie was like, "I'm so proud of you, Avery. I'm so proud of you." Like, oh, my heart. All right, so I'm not just wasting your time. I'm opening this giant box to, again, I don't want to just share with you what I got. I want to share with you the education and the understanding of why. Okay, so another thing that I invested in recently, which was a lot of money, is a certification. It's a women's, that's important, all about women, how we're different, how we're wired, women's functional health certification. And oh my goodness, this is again by Dr. McMill, someone completely unaffiliated with Shaklee. I'm all about, do I trust Shaklee? Yes. But am I all about making sure I'm getting my education, certification, and knowledge from unbiased lots of places? Yes. I will forever never put all my eggs in one basket and just blindly trust. That is what I learned from the whole body experience. And anyways, my whole ramble with that is it's so in depth. We're walking through every single body system, every single one, and how it all interrelates, and how, symptoms that look different and uncorrelated are actually interrelated and causing one another, and really getting to the root cause. I also invested in a whole a roots cause minerals. Minerals, I'm just getting so into that. It's amazing how our bodies work. Anywho, so all of this education that I continue to get leads me back to even more belief and understanding of what I'm taking and why. And it gets me even more excited to continue to help people really understand, because Shaklee has like 400 to 500, I think we have 500 plus products now. Like, there's so many things. And I love the fact that the more that I learn, the more that I can help people really understand what makes sense for them. Because gosh, I know that there's a million things, not just in Shaklee, but just like out there, right? And so it's really important to understand what your unique individual body would most benefit from. Because like everyone would take everything if they could, right? But we all have limited budgets and time and energy. So that's one big reason why I'm doing this certification, so I can help people really focus in on what's best for them. Okay, so I already talked a little bit about the nutrient cost. So even if you had like a perfect diet of all organic things, of lots of fruits, lots of veggies, lots of healthy fats, all the proteins that you needed, even if you did that, which it's very rare. Like, people are busy and kids are picky, which is only in kids. And so I just get a lot of peace, especially with my kids, having vitamins for them. And they've been waiting so long for these. I'm telling you, this box took forever. And so these, we have what we call Meology. So Meology, we have a quiz where like adults can, even if they have blood work, they can put their blood work in and their symptoms and their age and their typical things that they eat and their activity and their symptoms and their goals and like all these things. And I'm pretty sure it's millions of different combinations. They will suggest to you what you should take, and they'll explain why based on what you said. I love that they do that. And then we have a super discounted package if you want to try that with some other of the most popular things. So definitely reach out if you want to try that. But that was all in adult Meology. We also have kids Meology, and that is standardized for the kids. That, I'm trying to undo this and it's not working so well. This is typically what the kids' vitamins look like if you want to go for that route. It's about $1 a day per kid, and you get a discount if you have multiple kids. And they get to, like, it says their name, they get to pick a picture of something. I surprise them every month and get them something different. And then they also have like a little fact, a fun fact for the day. Anyway, so inside of each packet for the day, they get a multivitamin, they get immunity, and then they get omega-3s. And I just, again, the more that I learn about just how all of their little cells and their gut health and everything is really, it benefits exponentially as they grow if they have that good solid base. So these are the first any kind of vitamins that I have given them that they've actually been excited to take, and it's not like a struggle. Hallelujah. So that is nice. I don't like find them hidden or thrown in the trash or anything. All right, this is probably the cheapest thing in my whole box, and I swear by it. It's like the oldest thing in our library. It's mentholated multi-purpose cream. I think it's like herbal blend. I think it's like $8 or $9. This is amazing on heels. Like, my heels used to get so bad they would get cracked and terrible. that's what I use it for. I know elbows, hands, like especially in the winter, anything that legitimately needs help, this actually helps. It went from cracked and bleeding to nearly smooth, which never has happened. All right, what else we got in here? Holy Hannah. It is a big box. I kind of forgot. Everything that's in here. Okay, I'm gonna pull this out because this is the other protein. So again, I take the Life Shake every day and then my Build every day too. This is after my workouts. Now, if there's a non-workout day, because I believe in recovery, especially as we age, we need more recovery, and that is actually better for us. If it's a recovery day, I probably won't take Build, but that means I'm still getting the protein from something else. Because fun fact, when you're on your recovery days, it's even more important to hit your protein goals, because that is when your muscles are trying to repair and do the work. And if they don't have the protein, it doesn't happen. So, all right, collagen. This is going to be another rant. Get ready. So, this is the OG Shaklee collagen 9. This is a collagen. There's 3 different types of collagen. This is types 1 and 3, and it's a grass-fed whey, so bovine cow source. Fun fact, you cannot get collagen vegan. It does not exist. If they tell you it's vegan and that it's collagen, they're marketing and lying to you. Collagen is literally the connection tissue of joints. There is no plant that has connection tissue of joints. It's literally their marketing scheme to tell you it's such a thing. It does not exist. Okay, so this is types 1 and 3. So types 1 and 3 are specifically helpful for hair, nails, and bones. I want to make sure I'm getting this right. Hair, nails, and bones. So this collagen 9 is the first one that I switched out to. And I did notice a difference, especially in my hair. There was a time where I never could grow it this long. Definitely noticed a difference. And the reason why this is, so typical powder collagens are going to absorb about 10%. This absorbs about 30% because it includes all 9 essential amino acids. We add in the other like pea plant protein and things like that to make sure you have all 9, so it absorbs better. And it's hydrolyzed, smaller particles. All those things help it to get a 30% absorption rate versus a typical collagen that's going to give you 10%. Okay, so that's the OG. Now, if you've been around for a little while, you know that Modere closed down. When they closed down, Shaklee bought all their patents, trademarks, products, all the things. With it, the main thing that they bought and why everyone raves about Modere was for their liquid collagen. And yes, I definitely have some in my fridge and I take it and I swear by that too. Do you need to take multiple types of collagen? No. It's like all supplements, I'm going to tell you, like, you don't need, you'll probably live, right? You'll probably live and not die by not supplementing, but will you probably feel better? Will you benefit? Well, yeah. If it's quality, if it's being absorbed, you will notice a difference and you will benefit. So then I say, what's important to you? What's worth it for you? That's what you should get. So, the collagen 9 is the powder, type 1 and 3, hair, nails, bones. That's what that mainly is for. Now, the liquid collagen, that is 99% absorbed. It is type 2 collagen. Type 2 collagen is mostly beneficial for hydrating skin and joints. Joints are the other big thing. So there's been a lot of people who have had like knee pain, like chronic back pain, things like that, that have literally just added that one thing and they've noticed a difference, a considerable difference within a week of like their joint pain improving. So that's why a lot of people, I do it more for, this is gonna sound super vain, but we have a version of liquid collagen that is called Trim and Smooth. And I won't get into I have a whole email if you want to see the science of what is in Trim and Smooth that makes it work the way it does. But again, it's the liquid collagen, so it has the really high absorption rate. But in addition to that, it has additional ingredients that help hydrate, plump, and smooth out cellulite, which again, in 30 days, I just added the liquid collagen and I was like, oh, sold. So that is why I take that. I will say that the source of that, I'll nerd out a little bit in that, the source of that liquid collagen, the reason why, there's lots of reasons why it's so highly absorbed. One is the breakout of it. It literally has the same exact percentages of the collagen in addition to the supporting ingredients that mirror what's in our collagen in our cells. So because it mirrors direct percentages of what's already in our cells understand it, observe it, and see it as itself, right? So it absorbs really well. The other reason why, and this can sound kind of gross, but it tastes delicious, and just don't think about it. Like the liquid collagen literally tastes delicious. You put it on like a tablespoon, and you throw it back and it's great. So, but it is, again, I said this is from bovine cows. The liquid collagen is from the sternum of a chicken. And again, I like to think about it as we are using a piece of the chicken that is typically thrown away. I like knowing that. I like knowing we're not just butchering chickens to take their sternum. No, we're taking a piece of the chicken that's usually thrown away, but it's actually because it's from chickens is why it's so highly absorbed and effective as well. Because when you look at the other possible types of collagen that are pretty popular is marine, which is fish, or cows. And if you really think about the skin, nails, bones, and joints of cows, chickens, or fish, which one do you think is more similar to a human? Yeah, it's the chicken. So that's another reason why it works so well, because it's the most similar to what naturally occurs in our body. Okay, and collagen, that is one that I do think, like, it's hard, because people often say, like, well, what is your top 3, supplements? One would be like protein, because most people aren't gonna eat enough natural protein sources and it won't be sustainable, enjoyable, and all the things. So that supplementing protein is pretty important. And collagen is another one that's really high up there for me, because if you look at the science, we are born with a certain amount of collagen. It's a lot. That's why we're all baby roly-poly and hydration and plump little cheeks and thighs and all the things, because we have so much collagen. Well, what happens then is we lose it throughout our lifetime. And so it's another one that's super safe to supplement and proven over and over again about like bone health, like osteoporosis, sarcopenia. Like as a woman, there's just so many women that the stats are, if your bones aren't strong, if you would just fall, a lot of them die within 6 months to a year. Again, I'm thinking like, I like to think that's a long ways away from me, but it all matters, right? Like the more that we can strengthen our bones and our muscles now, it will help later on. And I have had people, not much older than me, that are already complaining of joints and all of that starting to ache. And this is just a really easy, safe way to help those aches and pains. And even from a skin level, it will help too. All right, let me keep going. I have no idea what time it is. I said I wasn't gonna rush myself. I'm not. So, this might be an hour-long video. Thanks for spending the night with me. Hopefully you pull away some helpful things. All right, so these are some of my bottles of supplements. And I do take a multivitamin. That one I was not out of. We have multiple multivitamins options depending on your age and your gender and all the things. Where do we even start? Okay, Omega Guard. This is another one. If you don't eat fish regularly. Omega Guard is another very affordable one that, and especially with, okay, so what is Omega Guard? Again, it's mostly from fish. It's a fatty oil. If you don't know the health and the safety of our fish and our waters, it's not good. So make sure you're not doing a cheap supplement of Omega Guard, because I mean, mercury and worse, very, very prevalent in fish and marine life. So Omega Guard, what does it do? It helps both with brain health and anti-inflammation. That's the main thing, anti-inflammation, which a lot of people complain about. Well, Omega Guard, omega-3s, it's a good idea, and brain health. Okay, these three, this one should be a quick one. This is Defend and Resist Complex. So we have tons of things. So we have lots of different immune options. This one is the one that you literally take when you start to feel the tickle, or someone in your house gets sick and you're like, oh, I don't want to get sick. That's what this is for. It's helped most of the times, and I need to restock, because you take a lot within a short amount of time to like make sure the junk doesn't take over, and then you're good. So that's that. These, it's going to be a little bit of a rant again. Okay, so this is Stress Relief Complex and GLA Complex, both of which I like to call them hormone helpers, because they are. Stress Relief Complex, most women that I know of have quite a high level of stress, or internalize a lot of stress, or are always busy, rushed, all the things. Stress Relief Complex is a safe amount of proven herbs and supplements that really help your body with that stress, specifically with progesterone. Because one thing that happens in a woman's body, if they're stressed, especially stressed acutely over time, for a long time, typically, and it just happens with perimenopause too, typically the progesterone starts lagging behind, which can cause more intense PMS symptoms. Cramping, heavy, all the things. Crazy rage. I had that. I know from experience. Solidarity. This makes a difference. Okay, so this, like I said, this box has taken, usually shipping is pretty good, but this, for some reason, this box, they claimed it was some kind of weather event. I don't know. It was traveling around Ohio and Missouri for like 2.5 weeks. So I went through a cycle without this and without this GLA Complex, and I started having cramps again. Like and I've done a lot on a lifestyle level to like get more sleep, do deep breathing. I've worked a lot on my lifestyle in the last like 6 months, but even so, these absolutely help. So if you're having PMS pain, this is a good just starter point. I will say that I'm always digging into more stuff. I also have gotten a partnership with a company that does at-home, affordable hormone testing to actually see what your situation is. Are you actually in perimenopause? Do you actually have high estrogen, or is your progesterone just too low? Like, it looks into your body. So we're not just guessing based on symptoms, we're actually seeing what's happening. And with that company, I can actually do supplements that are timed with your cycle, that are much higher dose to help move the needle more if your body needs more. So these are, Shaklee is all about safety, and people are able to get them and take them at their will. So all of these things are more things that are, again, safe for all women to take all the time, and they are beneficial. So the GLA Complex, if you've heard of seed cycling, pumpkin, flax, I'm going to forget half of them now, sunflower seeds, and can't remember the other one, but there's 4 different seeds, and you take 2 in one part of your cycle, 2 in the other side of your cycle. A lot of people feel like that's a lot of things to keep track of and all the things. GLA Complex effectively just makes that easier. So you can take it all the time, and it does help with just regulating and helping ease the inflammation and ease the bloat and ease those cyclical issues that happen. All right, moving on. This is the only house product I got in this one. This is our hand dish soap. We also have dishwasher detergent that I swear by. We also have laundry detergent that I swear by. This I also swear by. Hand dishwasher soap. So like instead of Dawn, instead of Palmolive, instead of all this. I cannot tell you, I am so happy to report like my rags are not stinky. It's insane. It doesn't smell because it doesn't have fragrance, which is bad for you, bad for your hormones, all the things. It literally smells like nothing, but your rag smells like nothing. It kills the germs. It doesn't just cover them up with fake fragrances. It just kills them, neutralizes them. It's wonderful. I love it. I wish I had it when I had babies in high chairs. I cringe at what I used on their high chairs. All right, moving on. Another thing. Magnesium blend. Magnesium. Magnesium is one of those things that for sure the majority of people are deficient. I want to say it's as high as like 80% of people are deficient in magnesium. Magnesium, oh my goodness, there's so many systems of your body that depend on magnesium. There's also lots of different kinds of magnesium. Some help with regularity, some help with sleep, some help with sweet cravings, like some help with digestion, all different things. So talk to me or someone else who knows what they're doing, and we can help you advise depending on what you're actually wanting and needing support in. But magnesium is one of those that most people need to supplement. And this one specifically is magnesium glycinate, which really helps with the sweet cravings. It also has vitamin C, B6, zinc, all those things are supporting minerals. Remember I mentioned that I'm geeking out on minerals. Something you'll find the more you dig in is that like our body, it's amazing how it is like everything in this earth, and there's, that would sound really, yoga, yin yang, all that. I'm really not. I just love the science and I dig into it. And so anyways, our body is made to be in balance. Even the minerals, the zinc, the potassium, the magnesium, the chloride, everything in our bodies, for everything, every mineral, there's also another that balances it out. So you can find sometimes if you just hear, an influencer say, oh, you need this, and then you start supplementing, you might start feeling good for a while. But if you only supplement that one thing for a really long time, you could then start to have other symptoms. And it could be because the cofactor, the other mineral that it works with, is being used up and you aren't supplementing that other side, which you need to if you're just supplementing one side. Anyways, the thing that I love about like Shaklee and a lot of things that they stand with is they often will put inside the supplement the cofactor or the other mineral, so it's naturally supporting both sides of the balance of your body, so it keeps absorbing and keeps working well, versus getting to the point where you have a disbalance because you've only been supplementing the one side. All right, I can geek out about so many things. All right, the last thing, I promise I'm almost done. The last thing here is 3 things, but it's all skincare, which it's going to be the end of the day. So it is what it is. But I was always the girl who workouts and supplements and didn't give a hoot about my skin. And I still think like I don't want to be the girl who doesn't look her age at all. Like I don't want to look like I did all this stuff and I don't even look like myself, right? But I have found that our skin is an organ and it does do so much better if you give it what it needs. Hydration and other very natural herbs and things that help it hydrate and look younger for longer. Who doesn't want that? I'm all about that. So it was probably only a couple months ago when I started our skincare. up until that point, I literally only used Dove sensitive skin soap. That's it. I had acne in my teenage years, and I felt like everything I tried, even things that I got as gifts and things like that, like I felt like it all made it worse. And then when I hit my mid-30s, I started to get like serious acne along my jawline, which was hormonal imbalances. There was just so much going on that I was like, oh my gosh, no. Like, so I was very simple and always just used sensitive skin Dove soap. So I was terrified, to be honest. I was terrified to start, like, I'm a naturally pretty greasy person. Like, well, that's not true. My skin is, my hair is not. It's very frizzy and dry. But anyways, I was terrified of putting a bunch of stuff on, like oils, and I just, for some reason I was thinking oils make acne, right? I just have always thought that. And so yeah, I was scared. But I've been pleasantly surprised. And really what convinced me to try it was there was people who were showing their before and afters. They always get you, don't they? And they were showing, I mean, insane the difference of just their skin after just using, and it's all EWG verified. So EWG verified is the highest level of clean and clinical safe skincare. Nothing is allowed in there to get that verification if it's, questionable, dangerous, bad for your hormones, etc. Not allowed. So I love that. And I also loved that Shaklee actually did the clinical testing to share. They actually, who knew they could do this? They actually looked at like your pore size and the size of your wrinkles and the hydration and the bounce back of your skin and the tightness of your skin. Like they took all of those things as literal measurements, and they literally measured people before the skincare and after the skincare. And they showed and proved that the skincare took off 10 years. People looked 10 years younger after taking the skincare. And yeah, I'm 38 now, and I can start to see more and more, all those things happening. And so I was like, well, I'll just try it out. And then of course I loved it. So long story short, long story longer. These are not all the things that I have for skincare. I go pretty basic. I use their, what is this? Yeah, this is the cleanser. And then I have a toner that I still have. It's a big bottle, so you don't have to refill it all the time. And then a treatment step, which these are the treatment step that I always pick. These are our youth wands, and this is a refill, not the real thing, and this is a wand. But I am gonna upload also onto YouTube a video of me like actually walking through my skincare and how it works. But these we call our no tox Botox wands because there are no toxins, but they work like Botox in that I'm struggling with this box. They're peptide pens, so I will not get onto the whole peptide ramble because I could go onto a whole ramble. Peptides are proven to be effective both topically and injected. Has not been proven through drinking various powders, but peptides have been proven to be effective topically and injected. And if you're like me, you don't want to be injected. You don't want to have to pay the price of Botox, and you don't want to have to deal with needles. So that's where these come in. I am seriously, oh, here we go. Okay, so this is one of them. These actually, this month, only in February. And we do have other monthly deals. So if you're watching this and it's like way past February and you're like, oh no, just reach out and I'll tell you what the deal of the month. Usually have something going on in the month. So let me know. And this, oh my gosh, this is not, I was gonna flip it back and then it got stuck in my necklace. Problems. Okay. These are only $20 this month with qualifying purchase. So of course I got one. You can get the eye one for $20, or you can get the face one, which a lot of people, if you're older for sure, they use on their neck to kind of tighten that all up. But I don't really have neck problems. problems yet, so I use it more on my forehead and right here and on these lines. So anyways, I'll do a whole video where I just show the skincare, but I wanted to point out the fact that these in February are 20 bucks with qualifying purchase. Either the small one for your eyes, under eyes and sides, or the face one, which does more. So yes, I use the cleanser, toner, treatment step, and then a moisturizer. That's all I do. There's, of course, lots more options and more steps you could add, but I do that basic. Okay. I have no idea how long that was, but I appreciate you. And I pray that something in here was helpful to you. I would love to hear. Just message me or comment below what stood out to you, what was helpful to you. And if you have more questions, I'm always happy to explain more. I always have more to say, but at some point, you have to stop. And so I will stop. Thanks for following along. All right.